What's up, everybody? Before we get started, we're going to take a quick look at Yoda here for a little bit of calm, peace, and serenity. This is the worst transformation experience I've ever had in my life. It doesn't break, it maintains its structural integrity. If you want to watch it, go ahead. I looked online to see if there's other ones out there. There is. I haven't watched it, but I would suggest watch MGO's and not mine. I just included mine on there because I shot it, so I might as well put it on there just so you can see me struggle with it. It is a nightmare. So, in my opinion, don't try it at all. But if you have to try it, certainly don't use mine as your point of reference. But if you want to see just how nasty it can get, it is included. Let's get started. What's up, everybody? It's your favorite Daunting Tasks, favorite nerd, and today we are looking at this Dark of the Moon Megatron by Alien Attack named Makron. Now, I looked at the other Alien Attack figure, and it did not feel anything like this, and was not decoed to this level in any way whatsoever, which makes me ask a number of questions, but maybe we'll get there sometime, another time, or perhaps on Patreon. For now, we're gonna look at this guy. This is on loan to me from Scott M. This poor dude has sent me a gift that I had to critique pretty harshly, fairly, in my opinion, but harshly. And then he also sent me a figure that broke on my watch that I feel awful about. And now it's got this, and this has got a lot of bits to it, man. And he's not as scared as I am. So I am going to really use kid gloves here. Don't expect me to push things to their limits. Not going to do it. I've messed up too much of this guy's stuff. And he continues to support me. Unbelievable. Anyway, with that being said, we're going to look at this guy. But in order to look at this guy, we got to talk about accessories. So a number of these accessories are used to kind of just spruce up the alt mode. This being one is kind of like this roll cage for the tanker. It doesn't look like it did a great job of protecting the tanker because the tanker's in pretty rough shape. But it's entirely die cast, and it's painted beautifully with this sort of weathering throughout on all the edges. Very nicely done. This will theoretically fit over the body, but you know, as you can see, I can't quite get mine straight. But it will theoretically go over the container there, but you have to do it on yours, because I'm not doing it on this one. Same goes for this bit. I'm not exactly sure what this is, but once again, goes to the alt mode. It's painted silver and then has the weathering on top. Likewise, these pieces here will fit right on top, and there's two tabs and two females that it attaches to. And then lastly, as that's concerned anyway, you get a number of railing pieces. You get these two pieces here. Once again, decorated the same way. We'll set them to the side and talk about the one that's a little bit more involved. You get this. It has the kind of placard, symbol on there. The tire has the weathering on it, which you'll see and as we look through the figure. And then, it's just decoed fantastic. That will peg in to the steps here. Mine isn't quite lined up, spoilers, but that's where it goes. These two go in corresponding holes over here. Or this is backward, but to create kind of like guardrails on this side in two different places. He comes with a shotgun. It has this piece over top of it. This piece is a softer plastic, and it is tacky. I don't mean that in the kind of like aesthetic. I mean like it's sticky. The thing that was decoed beautifully, we got gold paint, we got this kind of peach and then blue paint, and then we have the red paint accents, and then the whole thing has the weathering throughout. The handle moves, and then you could, I guess, load this, I guess, and that'll peg into the palm of his hand, and then the fingers sort of wrap around it, and it's a tight little fit, but then once it's in, it's not going anywhere, so to speak. He comes with this little fella. He just sort of gets on about his day, I guess. We got two little legs down here. This one's on a ball peg. This one, I think, is just a swivel. I can't really tell. We have the shoulder, the arm here on a ball peg, tight little tolerance. And then this arm's on a ball peg as well. It's holding a twig. Everything is painted, decoed, weathered, etc. I don't know if there's any... Oh, yeah, the head's on a ball peg, too. Once again, just an incredibly sculpted and incredibly decoed. Just, strange as all outdoors, but I guess that's just part of the course. You can turn the ankle too. I don't know. But it's definitely an accessory, I would say, more than a figure. He also comes with, aesthetic cues wise, this chain for robot mode, which is beautiful. It's painted different silvers and coppers and gold, silver and golds. And it's, It's fantastic. Stuff like this always makes figures look more interesting. And then he also comes with his like scarf, and it's just like a piece of fabric. You know, I'm not exactly sure how to get this to work. We'll try something, but it looks pretty good, and it looks pretty cool, and it's like stained. It looks like dirty, you know, so that's cool as well. All right, let's talk about the figure. We're gonna start with this head sculpt. It's fantastic, but this neck piece here is supposed to tab into there, and I can't get it to go. And I am not forcing anything on this figure due to the history that I've had with this gentleman's stuff. And maybe I don't have the neck right. It didn't come in box sort of transformed properly, so it may be possible that I don't have it right. That being said, the head is on a hinged swivel is what's going on here. Let me try to drop her down. Using both. You also have a jaw hinge. Everything is painted. It's a gray plastic, and then silver is painted. We have the weathering painted on, and then the kind of, it's two shades of weathering too. It's like an orange and a brown. Very nicely done. You get a hinge up, down. You get the swivel. No confused dog look. There's also a button here in the center of his forehead that if you press it twice, it'll light up your life. So, if you press it twice again, it'll there's like a little blinking bit over there that'll light up as well. Let's move on. The pistons here, they're painted with the copper and then the silver. The weathering is throughout, and these two pieces are painted silver. Weathering is throughout. I think these pieces are also painted the beige. I could be wrong about that, or it could be a wash. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Moving on, we have these pieces here. They will hinge and swivel. Well, it's a ball peg, but to get out of your way a bit. Same with these collarbone pieces here. We have a shoulder hinge that'll get you out to the side, just about 90 degrees, a little shy because of the angle it goes out. And then a soft ratchet around. And then we have, let me back out just a taste. Ratcheted elbow that gets you 90 degrees, and right above the elbow joint is your bicep swivel. Deco-wise, we have all the detailings here, the red and blue. We have the weathering throughout, and then the weathering is on the tires as well. The tires are a rubber. Sculpt work is on point. Same for the forearms, except we have the silver, and then the red and blue wire is there. The hands, let's adjust the camera a bit. Wrist swivel. Thumb is on a hinge, 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 hinge. So, really impressive stuff there. And then the fingers are on a base knuckle and then a secondary knuckle. So they're fully articulated. Really well done. Same for the other side. Deco is pretty much the same. Some differences, but pretty much the same. We have a waist swivel. The waist, I think, is supposed to be hunched over, but that's also an ab crunch, so you can straighten them out if you'd like. This chest piece, while we're on the topic, is another piece that came mistransformed in box. Not mistransformed, just not put together. But the truth is in order to get it, I think it's trying to kind of help you because he's supposed to be sort of lurched over. But once again, you saw it. It worked fine. I'm not going to go out of my way to fix it now. There's also a thumb that should be on a pin, but for those that are on the Patreon saw from my first impressions, it came off as soon as I got him out of the box, which means, in my opinion, the pin was probably never there. Ab crunch, waist swivel, you saw it, right? All right. Hips. Once again, deco to the nines. We do have this hip skirt here. It does get in the way. Using both, you can get out to there. If you try to maneuver this hip skirt, you might be able to get it a little bit further, but nothing really notable. Forward and back is much better, and there is a thigh swivel. The tank has the letterings on it, which looks beautiful, as well as the weathering. I can't stress it enough. The deco and the sculpt on this is really, really tremendous. Knees, double hinge so that you can kind of get that like animal posture that they're in. And stuff is falling off of this guy. You saw that, right? What is falling off of him? You saw that, right? You saw there's like a piece that fell off. Maybe this is it? So like, I don't know what this is, but it fell off. And I'm having that kind of throughout the experience. Don't know what it is. All right, so once again, deco, beautiful, nothing to complain about. We have an ankle rocker. No real ankle tilt up, but you do get a slight ankle tilt down on the hinge. And now I got to transform this unit, and I am not looking forward to the experience, and I am going to use a lot of caution. These pieces right here are die cast. I should point them out too. They have a tendency to pop up. They're heel spurs, or they'll act as such anyway. This guy has a bit of a balance issue. They'll definitely help with the balance. Lifesavers in that regard. So keep that in mind as well. And then this. Ooh, okay, let's do some size comparisons. And then this came undone here. Oh, it's gonna be a long day, isn't it? I don't really have anything that makes a whole lot of sense to compare him with, but there he is with Starscream. And I'll give you a legend scale Megatron as well. And then I guess it wouldn't hurt to measure him. He's about 12 3/4, roughly. So yeah, big old unit, Mac, big old unit. Let's get him transformed. God be with me. So we're gonna bring his backpack down. There's one piece here in the center. That piece will flip inside, and these two side brackets will flip inside as well. And this will spin 180 on his back. Bring his chest plate down. If yours is like mine, it should be pretty easy. The chest plate has inner flaps. Fold them to the front. Fold the flaps over. And I can't remember whether these... Yes, interconnect them. Then rock this section back here. Get the tires out of the way. Get all this stuff out of the way. And if you can see here, this entire section slides back on that rail there. So slide it all back. Right here, at that joint, is a twist. Twist that 180. And then, right here, where my finger is another twist. Twist that 180. Take the back plate, fold it down, take this piece, bring it up and over until you can peg it in to the top of the back plate. Open this section up that should be plugged into the back of his head. These bits here, you want to swing to the inside, these circular bits, and then collapse these panels into one another. Then we want to bring this, you can get his head out of the way, bring this section up and out, extend these. There's a piece underneath here, I just had a hard time grabbing it. If you flip that up and then flip this over, fill in that section, and then take these two pieces and spin them around so that he has his sort of spikes there. And then tuck his head in this section as you pull this section up and around. And there's not a lot of room to do this. And it's hard to see what you're doing in the first place. And there's a number of hinges here, and none of them have your best interest in mind. Pulled away there. If you separate the collar, oh, there are two pieces of the head that broke off, it looks like. There we go. Now that's in there, and this is up. The only other thing is underneath here, you want to take this piece and flip this up and lock it in. Bring this roof section up, and these side panels come up. And then you can also actually open up these, spin them around so that you kind of have the rough layout of the truck on both sides. And then we'll finish this. Oh, you know what? There's these spikes here as well that you got to flip out. So we'll flip those out. And all of this is a very kind of thin plastic, so good grief, be careful. I'm going to be careful too. And connect these up top to form the roof. All right, arms. So fender up, get this piece up. This piece is on a ball peg, just make sure it's free and out of your way. You got to bring this assembly with the second tire out of the way, and then bend this arm 90 degrees so that it lines up perpendicular to this line. Does that make sense? And then you want to rotate this piece down, and then this flap down, and this flap down. Rotate your wheel around until they will interlock there. Locked in. All right, then we got to get this on the opposite side. So untab the shoulder assembly. This, if you move this fender out of the way, it'll allow you to rotate the wheel to the other side. And then as this, let me rotate. Like there's just like, all right. This tire here has to come up and over. And I'm really trying. There. And then peg in right here. Then bring down your fender to sit over top of the tire and bring the back part of the fender down. All right, so underneath, take the arm, bend it this way. Actually, you see that? That's a steering wheel. Flip that out so that it collapses kind of nicely. And then tuck all of this in. And as you do, this tab there is going to go into the frame of Megatron there. All right, then take this piece and spin that around 180. Flip this open. Flip the hood open. Tuck in that piece so that the front bumper sits flush with everything. And then bring the hood back down. And now we're going to repeat that to the best of our ability. So open this up. This whole section here. What am I doing? Flip this up. There. Bring this around. You want to then rotate the shoulder so that that bar is sitting perpendicular. And then you want to bring down this panel. And rotate this panel so that you can bring your tire back around and lock and key, like a Netflix show, the side of it there. We then want to release the shoulder the entire shoulder from the structure. God bless. There. Get this housing out of the way so that you can rotate the wheel up, and then we're going to spin this all the way around. So that the wheel comes back, and it's just all this stuff. And the wheel, let me try to get you a better angle. We'll come back around and tab into the opposite side of the shoulder armature. You can then go ahead and spin this piece if you'd like here. Bring down your fender and the bottom part of your fender. And now we have to get the arm tucked up underneath. Arm, we're gonna rotate, collapse the best we can. Get that all tucked up underneath. And get the side piece here tabbed in once again to the frame of Megatron the best we can. All right, I messed with it a bit and got it a little bit better. Tuck the head in at that point and then flatten the jaw. Your smokestacks are attached to these pieces here. Rotate them out to the side so it starts to form a box at the back. And then take your doors and fold them towards the front, and they'll peg in right there. We're gonna do the same on the other side. And peg in. And your fenders will actually peg into the front bumper, so you can go ahead and do that as well. Cool. Now we got to get these smokestacks around to the side here, and there's 1,000 different hinges. You can get this piece down and put that piece in, and there's the female, there's the male. Just sort of get it the best you can to put that into space, but as you can see, we got to kind of square some of this up. So I'm going to open up this door there and try to get that the best I can so that I can get that there. And I'm going to do the same here on the other side. Bring this smokestack around. Bring down my fuel can. Flip that out. Flip that in. And female. On the bottom here, bring down this and then fold it towards the inside, and then that will allow you to really bring down this fender and line the wheels up. And you're gonna wanna do that on both sides. Let's see. There we go. All right, come on down, girl. There we go. There we go. All right, so this piece here we gotta get open. And let's see, where should we start? Take this section and get it up and out of the way, and you can kind of rotate that to the front as you pull down on the leg. It's hard for me to show you what it is you're looking for here. Open this piece up. You want to get this piece out. There we go. Now that that's free, you can start filling that in. But what we're trying to do is move this piece, and there's a rail here that it slides on down against the inside of the leg. Open this. You got to make this calf basically explode. So bring this piece down, disconnect that piece. Just kind of be mindful of these. Get these as much out of your way as possible. Flip this down. And let's see, this, all this stuff, because this has to rotate. So your tire here, you want to flip down. And then, once again, you're just kind of getting it out of the way. This piece swings out. So that this section can spin. And just be mindful of the foot. Almost about 90 degrees. Get your heel spur as much out of the way as you can. Separate your tires here. And then bring these around until it sits kind of together, but rotate the foot down. And I think we're gonna need to get this up and out of the way also. But for right now, there. And now you got these two tires sitting up here and all of your kind of fenders line up. You wanna have this curve here, basically, the foot and this piece come up over and sit down inside. Bring the heel to the back. And then you can straighten this if you want. Well, I don't know if you want it all the way straight, but you want to get it out of the way, at least for now, so that you can tuck this piece around. And then we got to work on this tire. And what you want is this female, can you guys even see that? Right there to connect to that male there. So just manipulate it until it lines up. And plug into place. You want to collapse the leg. Try to start getting some of this out of your way. Because as you can see, like this piece here has to come down and form, I don't even know if you can see that, but form right in there so that that lines up. And this piece has to come, let's see here, around, swing underneath, and you can start, I think, putting some of this together. And you can pull this knee up tight, I think, now. Just sort of start. getting that. I'm not gonna mess with it too much. We'll turn around to the other side. Bring this piece down and let it wrap inside. And make sure that this heel gets tabbed in. Just do what you gotta do to kind of make that work. And then this section will tab in to there. Let's see. There we go. And we're gonna tab oh, come on, man. Tab all that together. It's gonna be a lot of cleaning up on my end. This section flips up and forms the front of the tanker. Good grief. Let's do the other one. So we'll start with the same thing on the other side. You gotta flip this piece out. Bring this piece down on this slider and collapse it towards the inside of the leg. Start to untab all of this stuff on the lower leg so that you can get this entire assembly to rotate. And it is a ton of stuff. There we go. And rotate. Actually, we're gonna go the other way. Untab the wheels from this circular piece here in the back. Extend your heel out. Bring this around. You can tab them in. And then you can really just sort out this whole fender piece here. Bring this up. And this goes in to this section. And then this comes down and pegs in to there. Elongate the foot and then bring it up and over and tuck your circle, your half circle piece inside of your calf. And then you can collapse the calf, bring this wheel down, and let's see, where's our little tab? Just gotta make sure that we got this all straight, which will allow us side rail there. Come to the back of the foot, tab that into the rear piece there, and then your hose here tabs into the back there. On your side, you want to manipulate these panels so that you can bring this piece down underneath and then use your kneecap to kind of cover it up. And you can then straighten out this while plugging those pieces together. Bring down your railing here and align it with that so that that's in line as well. And then you want to combine all of this. And I got news for you. I'm gonna have to do some major cleaning up here. But good grief, man. There is literally nothing easy about this whatsoever. It's like a sadomasochist that designed this thing. Alright. So let's see there. And the back here on the there. And then we have this, and I can't even get this lined up properly. And like I said, like it may look like I'm using force, but I can promise you, I'm not using full force because I'm so worried about breaking another one of this guy's belongings. Oh my Lord. So you want to get this piece to come down and sit over top and latch into all of this stuff. And I'm going to try to do that off camera. And that's about the best I got, and it ain't much. Bring this around. Straighten this out. Straighten this out. And connect these pieces best you can. Same for the other side, which looks even worse. Swing around, lock in, if you have it lined up right. I don't know what's wrong with mine. It's in the knees somewhere. I mean, that's basically it, but I can't get it. And it's not worth breaking it for me. Extend your smokestacks. You can do that as well. What a nightmare. And I mean, there it is, with the best we're going to get. And I'd imagine it's pretty impressive if you have it quite right, which I obviously do not. It's just like, I don't know how worth it is. It's not fair for me to judge it because I don't have it right. But once again, I think the deco comes through beautifully. I think it's impressive that it does it. But I guess if you make something to be the least fun thing ever in the history of the world, that it gives you a little bit of an opportunity to make whatever you want. There it is with Tiger Tracks, and I got news for you. I'm done. I'm actually going to hit him up and see if I can just send it back to him like this so I don't have to transform it again, because at least I made it through. You know what I mean? Goodness gracious, man. This is probably the worst transformation I've ever had in terms of fun in my entire stint. This one probably takes the cake. Final thoughts wise, we'll start with the negatives. And the negatives, I think the most glaring one is the transformation. And look, some people might like this style of transformation. The style of transformation that makes you want to take a hammer and just bash all of your knuckles until they are completely rendered useless. The style of transformation that makes you want to take skewers that you would use for a shish kebab on the grill and stuff it as hard as you can between your fingernail and your finger. The style of transformation that would make you want to take a whole pack of loose leaf paper, take every single paper piece by piece and fold it till it's just thick enough to cause the most brutal paper cut you've ever had in the history of your life, and do it only between the webbing of your fingers, your earlobes, and somewhere upon your unmentionables. It's the style of transformation that I've seen before where everything operates off of a frame, and I think we should just start calling these frame formers. The one that springs to mind is G Creations IDW styled Optimus Prime, where like everything operates off of this singular frame. It wouldn't surprise me if the same designer was behind this. I mean, it seems very, very similar. I've been doing this for 8 years, and yes, I am not the best transformer of figures in the business. Never claimed to be, never wanted to be, but I do it a lot. I do it a lot to be experienced enough to say this is awful. If you have the gimmick of transformation, it needs to be able to be utilized. There's a difference between challenging. It's like a video game. A video game needs to be challenging enough to keep your attention, but it can't be frustrating enough where you don't want to play it anymore. That's this thing. This is the worst. It's the worst. The worst I've ever experienced. Can't express it enough. Why have a transforming figure if the transformation is A, I would imagine, even though I didn't break mine, I don't think, very difficult to pull off without breaking it, or B, just not worth it. Of course, that's my opinion regarding it, but that's why we're here, right? Secondly, there are elements of this that tie into the transformation that also make for kind of a lackluster figure in general, stuff not tabbing in or having like a real proper place to go. We see this sometimes times with Iron Factory alt modes in recent months, and as a result, it's just not user-friendly. Speaking of the lack of user-friendliness, we'll move on to the robot articulation. Because there's just so many moving pieces stacked aboard a skinny frame, as you manipulate this figure in any real way, it starts to come undone because there's just so many moving pieces. The problem with this is that it's just not fun in any way, shape, or form. It's not fun as an action figure, it's not fun as a transformation, and it's not, in my opinion, quite good enough for just a statue. There's better options for all three. But we have to maintain some level of balance, so we'll talk about what is good. The materials are actually surprisingly good, specifically for this company where the last thing that we looked at from them was awful materials-wise. Awful, awful, awful. That red thing, vomit fuel. This, completely different. Plastics feel good. There's two different styles of plastics used here. One for the frame, which is a little bit more gummy and a little bit more malleable, and then one for the kind of the bulk of the figure, which is a little bit more sturdy, a little bit more firm. And then on top of that, it's painted beautifully. One of the best paint jobs I've ever seen on a Transformer, and will probably end up in this year's running for best painted figure of the year, to just be objective. I also like the electronic feature in the eyes, and I like how it has that one part that like flashes that looks like there's like something that's miswired or not quite right. I dig that as well. And don't get me wrong, in spite of how awful the transformation is, I do acknowledge the ambition of it and what it took to pull it off. It's just, why bother? So that's my 2 cents. Do I recommend it? Nope. I think Unique Toys has one on the way. Wait for it. That's what I got. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.